Yeah, because I use
walked
it all
right
the
into
time.
that one. That was my fault. I walked right into that. Oh,
yeah, but walking into it, when you think about it, it's better than dancing your way into it.
True. Okay, the thing I remember about Creative Kids is we did like epic field trips, like stuff that people would never get to do, or like parents wouldn't even take their own kids. I don't take my kids on such great things, but like 3 times a week during the summer, we would go to Denver, and I remember we went to the candy factory. Remember we went to that one place where you could like shoot Nerf balls at each other, like
aquariums, amusement parks. The works.
I think we also went to the wildlife experience.
Yeah, like the zoo, the wildlife experience. I mean, we were constantly in the valley, driving that van up and down the hill. Like, I think about that and I go, oh my gosh, those kids, like, we got to do, I saw so much of Denver with a van full of kids than I ever did as Damien, like an adult on my own.
You need to calm down a little bit. Trish is an equal part of this,
I know.
Calm down a little bit.
But when we weren't doing that, we would either be like turning the freaking old elementary school gym into a playground, or we'd be using the actual playground. And it's like, holy balls.
And you know what else was funny about those van trips, believe it or not? And you might remember this, Trisha. As a kid, being that I was autistic and kind of seeing the world for the first time, I used to always be fascinated with the things outside the van, like the telephone poles and trees and virtually things that other students weren't as interested in as I am. And so a lot of the students, whenever I pointed something out, they would all chant, "So what, Doug? So what, Doug? So what, Doug? So what, Doug?" like a baseball chant.
So what, Doug? So what?
In fact, Damien, you and I should do a Fiverr and create a song called "So What, Doug."
Fuck, I could just produce that myself.
Like, that could be a song you make for me.
Yeah. If it wasn't the playground or the gym, we'd sometimes just go swimming. I swear. Yes. That was such a high budget Montessori school for what it was. I mean, the other Montessori school that came afterwards that took over, Circle of Friends or Circle of Fox, whatever you want to call it, that nowhere near on par with that. And it was
Circle of F's, bud. You need to be careful. That's inappropriate.
I know, but I'm just going to say this. Not only was the second Montessori school that came after Creative Kids totally jank, but it was also religious, and that just, I don't know, it wasn't for me. I do remember a babysitter of mine did start working there for a while to help her with her college tuitions, but I don't know. It was just, and the field trips were still decent. They just weren't nearly as epic as the ones we used to do back in the golden days, And it feels like Creative Kids was a lot more like a hangout. The other school that came afterwards, Circle of Friends, I don't know if you're familiar with it, was a little more authoritarian, and I didn't care for it nearly as much.
And I didn't really care for it either, but that was partly because of my personal problems I was dealing with, but a lot of it was because they were authoritarian.
Yeah, I didn't hate it, but I really didn't.
Different. It wasn't.
But I didn't even practice. But I personally liked Creative Kids a lot more because it had more. It was a lot more rock and roll, if you know what I'm saying. And that's another thing. I am actually a musician. That's kind of what I've been up to, in case you're wondering.
Wait, so you're not 5 feet or 5'10"?
I'm 5'11". If you're curious about that question, numbskull. But
numbskull. You can't tell me my skull is numb.
Only a doctor can. It's America, right? Yeah.
No. Only a doctor can. Only a doctor can tell me if my skull is numb. And you're not a doctor.
They're still driving each other crazy.
Anyway,
he wishes he had my sense of humor.
I had something similar at one point. Fuck. I mean, I'm still trying to get it back, but anyway, back to what I was saying about, speaking of music, do you remember anything about a band showing up?
No, remind me. Maybe it was before my time, or after my time, or maybe I wasn't working that day. Tell me more.
There was this band that there was like 5 different people part of it. The vocalist actually was the lead guitarist. Then there was a bass player, and then a keyboardist, and a record scratch DJ, and then a drummer who didn't play a regular drum kit. He played like these fusion drums, like with a washboard tie and bucket drums, and he would clack his sticks together. He was more like the percussionist, really. He wasn't really a drummer, but like the drums mainly came from the DJ station. And I thought they were a rock and roll band, but they identified as the genre alternative. And I was impressed by it because they said it was like rock, but it wasn't rock. And I was like, you sound like rock to me, dude. You're using a DJ station, but I mean, fundamentally, if you look at it historically, I mean, even looking back, I would still have to call them rock because I mean, rock was just this weird fusion from the beginning, was literally just this weird fusion music that, could be hard and heavy sometimes, but was often very loose and experimental. I mean, but apparently what these millennials thought was rock was just, Seether and Evanescence and stuff, where it was just guitars and drums. And so apparently because they're adding on other things, it's no longer rock. Historically, it's still rock. God!
Bro, don't get too political.
Sorry.
I'm
not even talking about political. I mean, because I use the term millennials? No, come on, dude.
Damien, what do you remember about it? Like, how come it
reminds? Oh, dude, the sound. I remember the sound being.
Or was it the instruments? Was it?
I remember as a kid, I just remember it sounding good and being like, holy crap, all right, a rock and roll band or alternative, whatever. And, but I mean, looking back, I remember the sound a little bit and I'm like, damn, that was a really, really cool concept. And it was actually similar to a concept that I have in mind for my sound, but it's just like, they had the guitar, they had the bass. I think there was a trumpet player who also played sax too. Do you remember that, Doug?
I remember, but just to note, Bud,
6 of them.
Just to note, Bud, you said if bass is spelled BASS, it should be bass.
Okay, like we are not bringing that into this. Do not call it a bass. It's not a bass.
It's a bass guitar.
No, that's a fish.
You know what else I found funny about Creative Kids, guys? And he did it the same way in school as well. He sang the Madagascar birthday song to everybody to the point that it got old.
I don't think I did that in Creative Kids. Didn't I do that like post Creative Kids or something? I don't. Are you sure it was Creative Kids? I don't remember doing that in Creative Kids.
Oh wait, Madagascar came out in 2005. Maybe it was Circle of Friends. But in any case, he sang it to everybody, even me on my birthday.
And I wish somebody would have sang it to me, but everybody's like, no. And I kept constantly begging Doug to say, could you please just sing me the regular version, the version I want to hear? Because I actually wanted someone to sing it to me.
Bud, like, no, I've already explained this. I've already explained this to you, Bud. I've already explained this to you. It was funny the first 3 times, but not every stinking birthday.
I know, but you don't have to like refuse to sing it to your best friend back. I mean, take some freaking initiative and opportunity.
Plus,
that's why Damien.
How does DreamWorks go from Prince of Egypt to Madagascar?
Wait, what? We weren't talking about Prince of Egypt.
The point I'm trying to make is Madagascar isn't as good as Prince of Egypt.
Well, those are 2 different. You're comparing chalk to cheese.
Well, with great chalk comes great responsibility.
Oh,
you would know that as a teacher.
What the kind of... That doesn't...
Let
me guess, you have a monster truck.
Oh my
Exactly, because there were monster trucks in this background at the race. But it was Stadium Super Trucks, owned by Robbie Gordon.
Yeah, okay, so fun fact. Typically, that would be a moment where I would have said, that doesn't even make any sense, and then Doug would have said...
It doesn't have to. I got a monster truck.
Yeah, in case you weren't aware what the reference was, we were just kind of...
It's a Phineas and Ferb joke.
Yeah.
You guys.
It's a show from our childhood. Actually, our late childhood, early teenhood.
I know Phineas and Ferb. My kids watch it all the time.
Atta boy or atta girl. You know what, guys? Come to think of it, people overuse "oh boy." We need to start being feminine friendly and start saying "oh girl" every now and then.
Oh,
would you agree with that?
I'm glad you find that funny. It
doesn't roll quite as much as often, or it doesn't.
Sad part is the sad part is not to kill the mood, but there are actually people who are mad enough to I don't know if you know what went down in the late 10s, but I mean, there were people mad enough to actually try and make that a thing, which was unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were paying attention to it. Honestly, you don't know how lucky you were. I was paying too much attention to it, and it drove me insane. So,
Hey, Damien, tell Trisha what happened at recess in first grade in the snow.